Hi everyone, welcome to Cyber Witch, your online resource for spiritual development. My name is Orly. I've been working professionally as a psychic for almost 20 years, and I'm a certified yoga teacher. Today I'm going to talk about what is karma and how karma works with the cycles of reincarnation. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about today is there is a super big misconception in pop culture of what karma actually means. Karma is not just some retribution for actions that someone has done. Karma encompasses all of our actions. So karma literally means just action. So people from pop culture like to use the word karma to refer to the consequences of something that someone has done. Like, oh, you did this, so now this is your karma for doing whatever. But what karma actually means is our actions. So everyone has karma happening all the time. A person who is living alone in a cave meditating all the time, that gets all of his sustenance that he gathers from plants of the forest, probably has less karmas than someone who lives in a big city and is some kind of socialite or whatever. So everyone has karma happening all the time. Karma literally means our actions. It's all the actions that we take in the world. And all the actions that we take in the world, whether good or bad, positive or negative, all have some kind of ripple effect in our experience of reality and in everything around us, because everything is connected. So that's something to think about when we're understanding what karma actually means. And karma also plays a big role in our reincarnation as well. So firstly, according to Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, which is the classical text on yoga from India, he divides karma into 4 different types. There is pure, dark, a mixture of both, and then neutral. So the idea is pure karma are actions that are beneficial and they don't bind us to consequences that we don't want to be manifesting. And then there's dark karmas that are harmful and lead to an energetic ripple effect of negative consequences. And then there's mixtures, so actions that are both, positive and negative, and it mixes the results in the person's life. And then there's neutral, where the person's actions don't produce any kind of binding effects. And the idea is, by binding effects, I mean things that connect us to the world. So even just having a conversation with someone, making a new friend, that is creating karma with that person. That is binding you further to the world according to these principles, unless the connection is something that is helping you achieve a greater evolution in your life, in your connection to the divine, to the truth, and all of that. So there's so many different kinds of karma because there's so many different kinds of action. So karma isn't just some sort of retribution. It literally just means action. So understanding and digesting our karmas is an important part of spiritual yogic work. And these are the things that help us in working toward future lives and also making our own life better by having a more peaceful existence, having more control over our minds, over our emotions, how we are choosing to live in the world. And so a big part of all of this is learning about your own self, and that includes the concept of learning about your past lives. So in scriptures such as the Bhagavad Gita, the concept of learning about the past life and lives comes up as part of your spiritual practice. So it can manifest in many ways. And the idea is that having this knowledge doesn't control us, it has the opposite. The idea is to learn about your past so you can learn from things and do better, so you can evolve as a person, so you can raise your frequency, so you can be more aware of your own problems and do karmic actions to change your life, which has a ripple effect outside of linear time. And so when we talk about this concept of digesting our karmas in ritual praxis from Hindu and Vedic traditions, the idea is we are going through a spiritual process where we learn about ourselves, we learn about all of our connections to everything in the world in an extremely deep way, so we understand, like, what am I doing? How is it connecting into the world around me? How are all those things affecting me? And how are all these things working together in our mind that's also working to generate our experience of reality, and the role that we play in that, and then also the role that the spirit, that the divine gives us as guidance through all of these things. So when we learn about ourselves through doing any kind of actual, practical, helpful spiritual work, so, for example, the limbs of yoga that I talk a lot about in the videos on this channel, so things like doing meditation, reading sacred texts, having those spiritual disciplines and principles are what make it so you can digest your karmas by understanding yourself better, understanding your actions better, why you take those actions, why other actions were taken in the past. And then also through this come these revelations of, you'll have things like past life memories come up, and then you can learn about, well, what did I need to do better this time? What did I learn from before that I can refine and use it to help me to evolve? Every single time that we are living, it is so the divine can experience its creation through us, and so our self can go on a journey of learning about all of these things. And so why do bad things happen to good people? Well, according to the classical Vedic scriptures, even if a person has done fully pure things in that person's life, in another life, they could have done things that result in them needing to go through experiences that make them learn. So in Sanskrit, we call these things the samskaras and the vasanas, which are patterns and ways that we behave in our actions and stored memory of desire impulses that can come up at any time. So these could be things that have happened to us in a previous life, and then something occurs in this life and suddenly it comes up, and then it causes us to act in a certain way. And learning about it and understanding these things so they don't control us when they come up, that's all the process of digesting and understanding your karmas. As well as when you do good, productive spiritual work, you will replace those patterns and behaviors that come to us from pop culture, from people's negative behavior, all these things from society that really weigh us down and try to distract us from how we have the ability to really connect more deeply in a way to the world around us. all these things will come up, and then you learn about how to process it in your mind. So for someone to have bad stuff happen to them, it could be because, and according to these traditions, the idea would be because there's things that happen to us in other lives, and this is the reason for that. And this even goes into theories of, why people pass away, and it's because they've completed what they needed to do. And so that allows them to move on and to evolve into something else. And people can also, in that same vein, there's people that are terrible yet seem to never have anything bad happen to them. But the idea is that all those things are actually going to affect you and the world outside of linear time, and it's being stored within you. So maybe not in this life will you see and find the direct repercussions of how you've chosen to take actions, but maybe in the next. And this also dictates in these scriptures how you actually will physically incarnate. So someone who lives like an animal might incarnate as an animal, and vice versa. That's the beauty of these mysteries that I just find so fascinating, and that's why I love studying these yogic texts. And so the way you live your life matters, and you may not see the results directly in front of you, but the idea is we are looking at things outside of linear time, and we are looking at things outside of our own selves. So the idea is, let's work together to raise our frequency into positive energy of moving our own selves into a state of evolution, into a state of understanding, where we don't let those things that are buried inside of us control us through impulses, and we digest our karmas and we learn about ourselves in the deepest ways possible. That really only comes through disciplined and dedicated spiritual practice. So I hope that you enjoyed learning some basic concepts today. If you would like to reach me for any of my spiritual work or online classes, you can find all that stuff linked below in the description of this video. Thank you so much to all of my channel members and patrons. Please subscribe if you're new. It really helps the channel. And also hit like. And I think there's now a button called hype. So if you could also please hype the video, that would mean a lot to me as well to help the channel grow. And I hope you take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.